The Interstellar Council's main chamber was filled with soft lights, floating data screens, and the strange hum of alien voices. Leaders from 27 advanced species sat in a perfect circle. They ruled over half the known galaxy. In the middle of the chamber, a small hologram of Earth floated, spinning slowly. It looked harmless, almost forgotten. Earth? Laughed Chancellor Druvik of the Rilnax race, his tentacles wriggling in amusement. They still use combustion engines and think they are important. They have teeth, but no bite, added Supreme Mind Turan of the Varel, his brain case glowing dimly. They do not even colonize beyond their moon, other council members chuckled. They passed old reports of Earth's wars, showing humans fighting among themselves. They called them emotional, unstable, unworthy of concern. Only one alien remained silent, Elder Vresh of the Damari. He watched the hologram of Earth with deep eyes. He had seen too much during his long life. His species had survived 2 wars with humans. Few remembered them. Most who fought had not returned. You'll all make the same mistake, Vresh said in a low tone. You judge humans by their past, not by their instincts. Chancellor Druvik rolled his eyes. Please, old one. They're unpredictable savages who got lucky a few times. That's not power. But Vresh stood. I was there when their small fleet destroyed a pirate armada in 3 minutes, he said. I watched them use debris as weapons. I saw them throw their ships into fire just to save civilians. The laughter faded a little. High Director Thelna of the Zarn leaned forward. You think Earth is a threat? I know it, Vresh replied. And if you provoke them, you will not survive. But his words were ignored. The council voted. They would send a fleet. Not to conquer, just to intimidate. A display of power. Earth would kneel. Back on Earth, things were different. Captain Nora Blake sat inside the command center of the Earth warship Iron Resolve. Near Mars. She had short black hair, sharp eyes, and a quiet voice that made people listen. She had faced pirates, asteroid storms, and lost friends in deep space. She was no stranger to war. Her screen blinked. A secure message came through. *** confirmed intent. Interstellar Council deploying. Fleet to Earth sector ***. She narrowed her eyes. They really think we're just going to sit and wait. She whispered. On Earth's surface, General Luke Harmon stood at a giant digital map. He pointed at the approaching Council fleet. They'll cross the Helios line in 12 hours, he said. That gives us 6 hours to prep orbital defenses. I want the kinetic shield activated. Now, in a mountain base in Colorado, engineer Tyler Grant worked with his team. They were activating systems that hadn't been used in decades. Satellites, lasers, old tech but dangerous. This stuff was built during the Cold War, said his assistant. Tyler smiled. And it still works. Farther away, in deep space, a small ship moved silently. The Raven 7, a stealth scout vessel. Its pilot, Lieutenant Jenna Crow, was watching. She had picked up encrypted alien signals. She didn't speak their language, but the tone was always the same. Arrogance. They don't see us as a threat, she said to her co-pilot. They see us as prey. She turned on the stealth mode and changed direction. Her mission was clear. Track the Council fleet without being seen. Back in the Council chamber, the final preparations were made. A fleet of 400 ships would launch. The pride of the galaxy. Some called it a show of force. Others called it foolish, but Earth did not laugh. Humans did not send messages back. They did not ask for peace. They simply waited. Captain Nora Blake stood on the bridge of Iron Resolve and stared at the stars. Let them come, she said quietly. Let's see who leaves alive. The Council fleet moved closer to Earth, ship by ship, cutting through space like a silver blade. From a distance, their vessels looked calm and peaceful, but inside, they carried weapons made to end wars. The fleet leader, Admiral Korath, sat on the command throne of the dreadnought Varlin. He was proud, confident, and certain of victory. "They will surrender before the first shot," he told his second-in-command. Humans fear power. But Earth was not afraid. On Earth's surface, the cities looked normal. Children went to school. Shops stayed open. News channels only hinted at strange military activity. The people didn't know a fleet was coming. The leaders had decided to keep the panic away. General Luke Harmon stood with his officers in a steel bunker beneath Washington, D.C. He pointed to a glowing screen. "This is their formation. Dreadnought in the center. Escorts on the wings. Standard council pattern," he said. "They don't even expect us to fight." Captain Nora Blake stood beside him. She had changed into a black combat suit, her sidearm at her hip. "What's our move?" she asked. Luke gave a small smile. "We let them come closer. Then we give them a reason to run." In the sky above, Earth's defense network was waking up. Old satellites were armed with new code. Hidden turrets were rising from snowy mountains and ocean floors. They were all waiting for a single command. Meanwhile, Tyler Grant was inside the Sierra Defense Base, deep under rock and ice. He was checking power cores and rerouting old energy lines. His fingers flew across the screen. Come on," he whispered. "We need everything hot in 30 minutes. His assistant handed him a tablet. "There's an unknown signal bouncing around the satellite grid." Tyler looked. His eyes widened. "That's them, high above, in deep space." Raven 7 hovered like a ghost. Lieutenant Jenna Crow watched through the glass dome at the front of her ship. She saw them. Hundreds of council ships, slow and proud. "They're not even cloaking their heat signatures," she said. "They really think we're nothing." Her co-pilot Mason asked, "Should we warn command?" She shook her head. "Already did." She pressed a button. Her voice was calm. "This is Raven 7. Enemy fleet confirmed. Formation tight. No signs of shields up. Sending full data to command." Back on the Iron Resolve, alarms blinked. Nora stood on the bridge, reading the report. "They're walking into it," she said. "Just like we hoped." The plan was dangerous. Let the enemy come close enough to think they had control, then shut down their eyes, strike their heart, and scatter the pieces. The Council fleet crossed the Helios line, the invisible border that marked Earth's protected space. That line had no weapons, no guards. But every ship that crossed it was being watched. Admiral Korath gave the order. "Prepare weapons. Begin descent to low orbit." The dreadnought Varlin began to move toward Earth's atmosphere. The Council ships followed, proud and slow. That was the moment. On Earth, General Harmon gave a single word. Now, all across Earth's orbit, the sky lit up. Stealth satellites powered on and sent out blinding energy pulses, frying enemy sensors. Orbital cannons fired silent projectiles, each the size of a truck. At hypersonic speed, Council ships began to explode before they even understood what hit them. On board Varlin, Korath screamed, "Shields up! Return fire!" But their systems were blind. Their maps flickered. Their targeting failed. Above the moon, Iron Resolve appeared from behind a gravity well. She opened fire without mercy. 2 Council frigates turned and ran. A third collided with its own ally while trying to escape. Nora stood steady on her ships. "Bridge. No survivors until they retreat," she ordered. She knew mercy could come later. Right now Earth had to teach them a lesson. On the ground, civilians saw flashes in the sky, bright lights like falling stars. Many thought it was a meteor shower. Others took photos. No one knew a war had begun above their heads. Inside the Sierra base, Tyler shouted, "Grid's holding. Shields at 90%. His team cheered. The old systems were holding better than expected. Jenna, in Raven 7, flew straight through the edge of the battle. She dodged debris and ducked through plasma trails. "I've got eyes on Varlin," she said. "It's moving slow. I think we damaged its main drive. Send coordinates." Nora replied, "We're going in." The sky above Earth was now a graveyard of metal. Wreckage floated silently. Fires burned in space without sound. Human ships circled the survivors. Like wolves, on board the Varlin, Admiral Korath collapsed into his chair. They were ready, he whispered. They were ready, and Earth wasn't finished. The battlefield above Earth turned silent for a few seconds. Smoke floated in space. Broken ships drifted like ghosts. The Council fleet, once proud and full of confidence, was now in chaos. Only 1/3 of their ships were still moving. Captain Nora Blake stood on the bridge of Iron Resolve. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Status?" she asked. 3 enemy ships retreated, 2 more disabled. "Remaining fleet still trying to regroup," said her officer, Elena Morris. Nora nodded. "They won't have time to regroup." She turned to the CUM station. "Tell Admiral Lawson we move to Phase 2. It's time we show them what Earth warships can really do." Far above Earth, another human fleet arrived. These ships were faster, darker, and deadlier. The Black Horizon, Earth's second dreadnought, led the charge. Admiral Craig Lawson stood at its helm, arms crossed, silent and focused. He looked at the remains of the Council fleet. "They came to scare us," he said. "Now they'll see how we answer fear with fire." He raised his hand. "All ships move in." The human fleet split into attack wings. Each wing moved with speed and skill, dodging floating debris and enemy fire. The Council ships tried to fight back, but their systems were still recovering. Missiles from the Black Horizon hit their command ship, causing a chain of explosions. Across their formation, on Earth's surface, people were starting to notice something strange. News stations reported strange lights in the sky. Some showed blurry images of glowing objects falling into the ocean. People looked up, wondering if it was war or something worse. In a hidden military base under Greenland, General Harmon received real-time updates. "The fleet is breaking. Human ships are pressing them from all sides," an officer reported. "General." Harmon stared at the map. "Push them. Don't let any of them regroup. We finish this today." Back in space, Jenna Crow flew Raven 7 through wreckage fields. Her ship danced between burning Council ships, sending data to Earth's command centers. She wasn't built for heavy fighting, but she was built for precision. "I found the Council's tactical cruiser," she said over comms. "It's coordinating the survivors. If we take it out, they'll fall apart." Nora's voice replied, "Can you mark the target?" "Already did," Jenna said, sending a data pulse to Iron Resolve. Nora gave the order. Firing all pulse lances at target grid E17. 3 beams of pure light fired from her ship. They hit the tactical cruiser in its center. It didn't explode, it simply broke into 2 pieces and went dark. On the Council dreadnought Varlin, Admiral Korath knew it was over. His fleet had no support. Their enemies were faster, smarter, and more prepared. He sent a message to the Council headquarters. Operation failed. Request immediate extraction or ceasefire, but no answer came. He turned to his crew. Prepare emergency jump coordinates. We retreat now. But before they could escape, the Black Horizon locked onto them. Admiral Lawson's voice echoed through space. This is Earth vessel Black Horizon. You attacked our world. You will not leave. Black Horizon launched shockwave torpedoes. They hit Varlin in its engines. Flames erupted from its rear, and the ship began to spin slowly. Inside, chaos reigned. Officers ran, systems failed, and the once mighty dreadnought became just another broken piece of metal in Earth's sky. Jenna Crow saw the explosion from afar. She whispered, "That's what happens when you pick the wrong fight." In the Sierra base, Tyler Grant and his team cheered. "Shield still holding. Minimal loss," someone said. Tyler smiled. All that work paid off. At last, Earth Command sent a global signal. This time, it was not a warning. It was a statement. To all Earth citizens, The threat from the alien fleet has been stopped. Our forces remain strong. Earth stands united and undefeated. People across the planet watched the message. They stood in silence. Some cried. Others clapped. No one had expected Earth to win. But now, they knew humanity had changed. In Luna base, a quiet figure stood alone, watching the stars. Captain Nora Blake placed her hand on the glass. They came thinking we were weak, she said. Now they know. No one attacks Earth and lives. And far away, across the stars, alien species watched the defeat of the Council fleet. Some cheered, others feared. But all of them knew one thing: humanity was not just another race anymore. They were a force to be respected or destroyed. And destroying them was no longer easy. The sky over Earth was quiet again, but the silence was not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that comes after something terrible. Pieces of broken ships still floated above the planet. Some burned slowly in orbit. Others had fallen into the ocean. Earth had won the first battle, but everyone knew the war wasn't over. In a high-security meeting room under the Pentagon, General Luke Harmon met with Captain Nora Blake. A large hologram showed the remains of the Council fleet. A red circle marked the destroyed dreadnought Varlin. "That's not the end," Harmon said. "The Council doesn't give up after one loss." Nora crossed her arms. "They'll come back with more. Bigger ships. Stronger weapons," Harmon nodded. "That's why we need to take the fight to them." Nora raised an eyebrow. "You want to attack?" "Not all-out war," Harmon replied. "Just a message. Let them know we can reach them too." At Luna base, Earth's military scientists were already working. Engineers studied the remains of the Council ships that had crashed. Alien metal, strange power cores, and unfamiliar energy tech were brought into labs. Tyler Grant was there, scanning a large alien device. "This tech is cleaner than anything we have," he said, "but it's fragile." "They built it for speed, not for survival," his assistant asked. "Can we copy it?" Tyler smiled. "No, but we can break it." Back on the Iron Resolve, the crew repaired damage from the last fight. Captain Blake walked the halls, checking on her team. Everyone was tired, but proud. Elena Morris, her communications officer, stopped her. "We just got a message. Lieutenant Jenna Crow is back. She wants to speak with you in person." Nora nodded and headed to the hangar. Jenna stood near her small ship, still wearing her flight suit. She looked tired, but focused. "What did you find?" Nora asked. Jenna pulled out a small data drive. "I followed the retreat path of the Council survivors. They're regrouping near the edge of the Velkar system. It's a repair zone, lightly guarded." Nora took the drive and plugged it into her tablet. A map lit up. "If we hit them there, they'll lose their chance to rebuild," Jenna said. "And maybe think twice about coming back." Nora looked at her. "You want to lead it?" Jenna nodded. "Let me take a strike team. We can slip in, hit their fuel lines, and get out before they even know we were there." Nora paused, then smiled. "Get ready. I'll talk to command." Meanwhile, the Council's inner chamber was in chaos. News of the defeat had spread fast. Some blamed Admiral Korath, others blamed poor planning. But one thing was clear: Earth had changed everything. "We must respond," growled Chancellor Dravik. "If we don't crush them now, others will think we are weak." Elder Vresh stood again. "You already failed. Don't make another mistake." Dravik slammed a tentacle on the table. "You always speak of fear. But we are stronger. We only need better strategy." Another voice joined in. It came from a screen above. It was a younger Council member from a minor species. "Earth's strength is not just weapons," he said. "It's their will. They don't break easily." The Council fell silent for a moment. Then came word: a human ship had entered Council territory. Jenna's team had arrived at Velkar. The human strike group used small, fast ships. They hid behind asteroids, used council signals to sneak past scans. The mission was simple: disable the fuel depots, destroy the repair stations, and leave before reinforcements arrived. Jenna piloted her ship like a shadow. Her wingmen followed. Silent and sharp. She whispered over comms. Target is up ahead. Though quiet, her ship slipped into the shadow of a large repair dock. The engines were off. They moved with gravity assist. Planting charges, her teammate said. 5 minutes inside. The council station, engineers were working on damaged ships. They didn't expect visitors. Alarms didn't go off until the third explosion. By then, it was too late. Jenna's team was already gone. Back on Earth, the success report arrived. General Harmon stood before the world leaders on a secure call. We hit them where it hurts, he said. Their backup plans are falling apart. In a room filled with silence, the president of Earth finally spoke. Prepare for more. We can't wait for the next strike. Captain Nora Blake returned to her ship. A message from Luna Base waited for her. You are now assigned to lead Operation Iron Flame. First offensive strike into council space. Nora read the message again. Then she looked up at the stars. They wanted a message, she said. Let's send them one they won't forget. Operation Iron Flame began under the cold light of distant stars. Earth's first full offensive against the Council was now in motion. The mission was risky. No human fleet had ever entered this deep into Council space. But Captain Nora Blake had accepted the responsibility. She stood on the bridge of Iron Resolve, eyes locked on the map ahead. Their target was a Council stronghold orbiting the planet Nexer. It was a fuel hub, a command relay, and a symbol of Council strength. Destroying it would send a message. Fleet status? Nora asked. Ready and waiting, Elena replied. 32 ships, 2 stealth bombers, and full drone support. Good, Nora said. Let's move, as the fleet jumped through hyperspace. The silence in the ship was heavy. Every crew member knew this was not a simple battle, it was history. They weren't just defending Earth now. They were changing the balance of the galaxy. Meanwhile, the Council was still trying to recover. Their leadership had split. Some members wanted peace. Others demanded revenge. No one agreed on the next move. Chancellor Dravik had taken control of emergency forces. He was furious and afraid. In secret, he ordered the creation of a new weapon. Something powerful enough to end Earth in one blow. The project was called Starkry, a station-sized cannon that could collapse space itself. But it was not ready. At the same time, Earth's offensive fleet arrived at Nexer, eyes open. Nora said, no mistakes, the Council base was bigger than they expected. Dozens of defense towers and shield rings surrounded the core. But Earth had a plan. Tyler Grant had developed a new drone. Swarm called the Sentinel Rings. These drones moved fast and changed patterns constantly, making it hard for enemy weapons to lock on. Deploy Sentinels, Nora ordered. Hundreds of small drones flew out of the ships. They formed moving rings around the Council base. Then, they began cutting through shields and disrupting power systems. Inside the Council base, alarms screamed. Officers shouted orders, but the human drones were too fast. Defense systems failed one by one. Then came the human ships. Iron Resolve, Black Horizon, and the rest of the fleet moved like a sharp blade. They avoided enemy fire, targeted weak points, and destroyed command nodes with precise strikes. Jenna Crow flew low over the base, guiding the drone attacks. Her ship moved like lightning, too fast for the turrets to catch. Main shield generators are down, she said. Strike now, Admiral Lawson, commanding from Black Horizon, sent the final command. Fire all fusion lances, beams of raw energy hit the base. Explosions followed. The ground cracked. Fuel tanks erupted. The sky above Nexer turned red with fire. From orbit, it looked like a star going dark. Nora watched the blast from her ship's window. She didn't smile. This wasn't a victory to celebrate. It was a warning. Pull back, she said. Mission complete. The human fleet returned to safe space with only minor losses. They had done the impossible. They had struck the Council in its own heart and won. Back on Earth, people cheered. Cities lit up with messages of pride and strength. For the first time in history, humanity had not just defended itself. It had shown the galaxy it could fight back. In a dark room at Council Command, Dravik stared at the burning reports. They will not stop, he muttered. They will come again. Unless we end them first, he turned to the Starkry engineers. How long until it is ready? 3 weeks, the lead scientist said. If all goes well, Dravik's eyes burned with hate. Then work faster, on Luna Base, Nora met with General Harmon through a secure link. The strike was clean, she reported. The base is gone. Minimal damage to our side. Good work, Harmon said. But there's more. We've intercepted Council plans. They're building something big. We don't know what it is yet, Nora nodded. Then we need to find it. I want you to take a recon unit into space, Harmon said. We need answers before they finish whatever they're building. Nora accepted the mission. She didn't ask for rest. She knew there wouldn't be time. The next battle was already on. The horizon. Back in her quarters, Nora sat quietly. She looked at a photo on her desk. Her family, taken before the war. They thought we were weak, she whispered. Now they know. She turned off the lights and stared at the stars. Whatever came next, Earth would face it. And this time, they wouldn't wait for the enemy to strike first. Captain Nora Blake stood at the center of the briefing room on the Iron Resolve. The lights were dim. A large hologram floated above the table, showing strange energy readings from deep within Council space. It was like nothing Earth had seen before. This is where we believe their secret weapon is being built, said Elena Morris, pointing at a red dot near a black hole system known as Rinner's Edge. Any idea what it is? Nora asked. Not yet, Elena replied. But if they're hiding it near a black hole, it's dangerous. General Harmon's voice came over the secured line. We're calling it Project Starkry, he said. We don't know what it does. But we know this. If they finish it, Earth won't survive. Nora took a deep breath. Then we can't wait. Within hours, a small task force was assembled. Nora led the mission. Jenna Crow flew ahead in Raven 7, acting as the eyes of the operation. Tyler Grant joined the mission from Luna Base to help with the tech analysis. He had a feeling this wasn't just another weapon. The journey to Rinner's Edge was quiet. The crew slept in shifts. Everyone knew this might be a one-way trip. The closer they got to the black hole, the more strange readings they picked up. Gravity shifted. Lights flickered. Space itself seemed to bend. Is this normal? One of the younger crew members asked. No, Tyler said, watching his screen. This is engineered. Someone is using the black hole's energy, Jenna. Flying ahead, finally found it. I see it, she said over comms. It's massive. A space station. No, a cannon. Built into the side of an asteroid. It's feeding off the black hole, the image came through. The weapon was unlike anything Earth had seen. Huge rings floated around it, spinning slowly. Energy pulsed from the core. This is Starkry, Nora said, her voice low. And it's almost ready. They needed a plan. The weapon was protected by heavy shields and 2 destroyer-class Council ships. Getting close would be suicide. We don't need to get close, Tyler said. We just need to overload the energy intake. If we target the feed lines from the black hole, it will collapse the whole thing, Nora nodded. Can you guide the shot? Yes, but I'll need to get inside their outer ring. It's the only place I can access their system. That's a death run, Jenna said. Tyler looked nervous, but he stood firm. Let me do it. I can get in and out fast. You'll only have one chance to fire, Nora agreed. The mission began. Jenna flew Raven 7 close to the station. drawing fire and attention. She danced between blasts of energy, sending false signals and dropping chaff. Tyler rode in a stealth pod launched from the underside of Iron Resolve. It was quiet, invisible to most scanners. He reached the outer ring and activated his tools. Panels opened. Wires glowed. He typed quickly, overriding systems with Earth code. "Feed line is marked," he said. "Take the shot." Nora gave the order. The Iron Resolve and 2 support ships launched precision missiles toward the target. The missiles hit the feed lines, cutting the power connection between the black hole and the weapon. Inside the station, alarms screamed. Systems failed. The rings stopped spinning. The energy flow reversed. "It's collapsing," Tyler shouted. Trying to run back to the escape pod. The weapon shook. Fire burst from the core. Explosions ripped through its structure. Jenna turned her ship back toward Tyler's location. "I've got you," she yelled. He jumped from the ring, using a small thruster pack. Jenna caught him in the cargo bay just as the weapon exploded. Behind them, the shockwave pushed her ship, but she managed to hold control. On Iron Resolve, cheers filled the bridge. "We did it," Alina said. "Starkry is gone." Nora didn't smile. "Send a message to Earth, but stay alert. This war isn't over yet." Back at Council Command, Chancellor Dravik watched in horror as the live feed went dark. "Our final hope." "Destroyed," he said, barely able to breathe. Elder Vresh stood nearby. "You forced this. You fed your pride, and now you've given them more strength." Dravik fell silent. For the first time, the Council saw what Earth could really do. They hadn't just survived, they had fought back, broken the enemy's weapon, and walked away. And they were still coming. Captain Nora Blake walked down the quiet hallway of Iron Resolve. The crew had returned from the Starkry mission safely, but the mood was heavy. They had destroyed the enemy's strongest weapon. They had won again. Still no one celebrated. They all knew something was coming. General Harmon appeared on the main screen in the command room. "We have reports from our outer colonies," he said. "Council forces are breaking apart. Some are running. Some are turning against each other." "That's good, isn't it?" Nora asked. "It means we've done serious damage," Harmon said. "But it also means they're unpredictable. They're desperate." Jenna Crow entered the room, holding a new data report. "Look at this," she said, placing it on the table. A rogue group of Council ships destroyed one of their own outposts. "They thought it had human tech," Nora frowned. "They're panicking." "Yes," Jenna said. "And panic is dangerous." Back on Earth, the people watched the skies. They had heard of the battles. They had seen the photos, the broken ships, the victories. But they also saw the cost. Families had lost sons and daughters. Cities had welcomed returning heroes in Silenstadt in the Luna Base Memorial Hall. Names were being carved into the black wall. Tyler Grant stood there, reading each one. He didn't speak. He just stood still. He knew most of the names. He returned to his lab with a heavy heart. But there was no time to rest. Earth had decided to send a peace signal. General Harmon contacted the Council, offering terms to end the war. The message was clear. Earth would stop its attacks if the Council ended all plans to invade or harm humans. The reply came 2 days later. A video played in the Earth Command Center. Chancellor Dravik appeared, wounded and shaking. "You have made your point," he said. "The Council is broken. Many have left. I have no more fleets to send." He paused, then added, "We accept your terms." Silence filled the room. Then, slowly, people began to breathe again. The war, it seemed, was finally ending. On Iron Resolve, the crew gathered in the main hall. Nora stood in front of them. "We were sent to defend Earth," she said. "We ended up changing the galaxy." "No." One clapped. No one shouted. They simply nodded. They understood. Later, in her private quarters, Nora received a personal message from General Harmon. "We want you back on Earth," he said. "The people want to see the captain who led the final strike." She smiled a little as Iron Resolve returned home. It passed the moon, entered Earth's orbit. All over the planet, lights turned on. People looked up. "She's back," someone whispered. Jenna stood next to Nora as they watched Earth through the glass. "We did it," she said softly. "No," Nora replied. "Everyone did." Earth stood together. A few days later, a public ceremony was held in Washington. Leaders from across Earth gathered. Soldiers stood in line. Children held flags. The people waited. Nora walked up to the podium. She wore her dark uniform. Her voice was calm. "Many believed we were weak," she said. "But we were never weak. We were waiting, watching, learning." She looked out at the crowd. "When the time came, we stood together. Not as one city, not as one nation, but as one Earth." The people clapped. Some cried. At Luna Base, a new fleet was being built, not for war, but for defense. Ships with stronger armor, engines that could jump farther, drones smarter than before. Tyler led the design team. "We may not need them now," he said, "but we will be ready." In the quiet of space, the Council survivors drifted far from Earth. No more attacks came. No more plans were made. They had learned their lesson. Elder Vresh sent one final message to Earth. "You have earned your place among the stars," he said. "May we never meet again in battle." The message was short, but Nora kept it. It reminded her of how far humanity had come. She knew peace was not forever, but for now, Earth was safe, and the stars no longer looked so far away. 1 year after the end of the war, Earth looked different. Cities had rebuilt. New stations circled the planet. Earth's sky was no longer just blue, it now glowed with quiet signs of strength. Satellites, ships, and defense rings formed a shield that would not be broken. Captain Nora Blake walked along. The glass corridor of Luna Base now turned into the headquarters for Earth Space Command. Her uniform was still crisp, but her face showed lines from long days and longer nights. She had become a symbol. Some called her a hero. Others called her the shield of Earth. She didn't like titles. She only liked results. A new message blinked on the screen in front of her. "Diplomatic envoy from former Council territories arriving in 1 hour." She sighed. More talks, but she knew it was important. The war had ended, but peace had to be managed. The broken council had split into smaller groups. Some were peaceful now. Others were not. It was Earth's job to make sure none of them ever returned to the old ways. At the same time, Tyler Grant was working in the new orbital science station called Horizon 1. He stood inside a lab filled with alien tech and human upgrades. "We're finally building for the future," he said to his team. "Not just for war." Jenna Crow had taken a new role as the lead pilot trainer at Earth's Deep Space Academy. Young recruits listened closely when she spoke. She taught them how to fly, how to think fast, and how to stay calm under fire. "The stars won't forgive mistakes," she said often, "so we don't make them." In Washington, General Luke Harmon had retired. He spent his time advising young leaders, helping them understand the weight of command. He had seen too much to forget. But he believed Earth was now in better hands. The day of the diplomatic meeting came quickly. Nora sat at the head of the table. Across from her sat 3 alien leaders, one from the peaceful Theran Union, one from the neutral Tsar Coalition, and one from a new group called the Free Worlds Alliance. They spoke in calm voices. They asked for trade, for help, for peace. Nora listened, nodded, and spoke clearly. "Earth is open to peace. But if we are threatened again, we will defend ourselves." There was no anger in her voice, only truth. The meeting ended with a handshake, or the alien version of one. Slowly, new bridges were being built. Afterward, Nora returned to her quarters. She opened a small wooden box and took out an old photo. It showed her crew standing together before their first mission. Many were still alive. Some were not. She placed the photo beside her desk and turned on the news. Across the screen, a message ran, "Earth celebrates 1 year of unity. The stars remember." "And so do we," at Horizon 1. Tyler stood on the outer deck, staring into the dark space. One of his assistants asked, "Do you think they'll ever try again?" Tyler shook his head. "Not for a long time," they learned. "And we've grown." At Deep Space Academy, Jenna watched a young cadet finish a perfect flight run. "Good work," she said, then looked up at the sky. "Let's keep it that way." Back on Earth, a new statue had been placed in the capital's central square. It wasn't of a person. It was a symbol, a hand holding a planet. Strong, steady, and protective. It was called the Guardian. Tourists took photos. Children asked what it meant. An old man, passing by, said, "It means Earth doesn't kneel at Luna Base." Nora received one final message that day. It was from Elder Vresh. It was short. "We were wrong about you. And we are grateful you stopped us before it was too late." Nora read it twice. Then she turned off her screen and walked to the observation deck. She looked out at the stars. No warships in sight. No threats. Just the quiet hum of peace. She smiled. For the first time in years, it felt like home. Humanity had earned its place. Not through power, but through courage. And now, the stars would never forget.